You're listening to What It's Like with Luce, a podcast highlighting ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm your host Lucy Norris, and on today's episode I'm chatting to founder of Her Sport, a media platform focused on bringing audiences the latest Irish and international women's sports news. Involved in sports from as early as she can remember, this week's guest has tried her hand at pretty much everything, from ballet to soccer, but it was swimming that captured her attention and made her fall in love with competition. Leaving the sport behind to focus on studies at age 17, it wasn't until university that she rediscovered her passion for the pool in an attempt to widen her social circles to make friends, and opened her eyes to something she'd been fortunately shielded from for most of her life: inequality for women in sports. A topic that stayed with her after college, she decided to take her digital marketing skills and use them to create an online platform that celebrated women in sport and gave them a mouthpiece like never before. 2 years on, Her Sport is making waves and growing by the day. Sharing how she did it, here's what it's like to be Niamh Tallon. Before we get stuck into the episode, I just wanted to say that if there is a drop in sound quality throughout, I'm very sorry. But in respect of social distancing during COVID-19, I've had to record episodes remotely. In this challenging time, we're all trying our best, so I really hope everyone is staying safe and that you enjoy the episode. So when you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Different things crossed my mind. When I was in primary school, I was in secondary school, I hadn't this kind of urge to do anything in particular. And I guess I found it difficult in a way to decide what I wanted to do in college because I was interested in a lot of different things and I wasn't particularly good or bad at like all the subjects that I did. I kind of got the same results across the board. So that was kind of like my CEO had completely different things, like a complete range of things when I was deciding what I wanted to do in college. And then I kind of decided to put down degrees that I felt would be broad, and if I wanted to change my mind, like that I wasn't going to end up in a course where I like totally didn't like the subject and it was like I was just kind of guessing. So like I had like business courses down and I had law down and that type of thing where I thought it could be used. I don't know, I think you figure it out. I think I was quite lucky in the course that I did was I did commerce in UCD, and we were able to kind of, as we got into second and third year, we were able to choose the modules that we enjoyed more or suited us better.
The reason why I asked that question was because I thought it was really interesting that you have a background in digital marketing, but then you've kind of dedicated your time now to promoting women in sport. So I guess I'm wondering where the sport kind of ties into things.
It's more upon reflection now that I see that business was maybe more obvious to me than not. When I had to choose my subjects going into secondary school, like I just remember thinking business wasn't really cool, or why would I do that? Like some of my friends that were older than me did home economics, and I thought, great, like you're able to bake in home ec and I'll be able to do sewing and like all this like fun projects and stuff. And I was like, sure, there's no fun projects in business. When like in reality, like business actually it does interest me. But at 12 years old or 11 years old, whenever you're picking what you're doing in secondary school, like that, it's so young. So I didn't pick the subjects, but like both sides of my family have businesses. So it in that way, I guess I've always been around that, and there's different things that I would see that I noticed that my friends don't, because my families have background, and my family has background in business, and other people's don't necessarily. Like going back, like there were different things that like I did in transition year, or like I started up like a random project maybe when I was in 5th or 6th year, or like in college that other people don't necessarily, or I might come up with a random idea and I'm like, oh, that could work, or maybe we'll do that. And it's like, it's only as I've gotten older that I realized that I have the head for it. Like what I found in commerce was like I enjoyed the marketing aspect of things. I took a year between my undergrad and my master's and decided to go into digital marketing after, but I did an internship between that, and I did a couple of different things before kind of deciding that's exactly what I wanted to do. The sports side of things, like I've always been in sport and everybody in my family is in sport. We were put into sport as children. We're all competitive. Like we were all put into swimming. My brother played football and hurling. My sister played camogie. I swam and I tried like dancing, and that type of thing when I was younger, but I just never really stuck at it. Yeah, horse riding and swimming actually until I was about 12 or 13, and then swimming kind of took over, and I would have swam competitively till I was about 17. And then I kind of stepped away from that because I got sick, and like leaving cert took priority then, and went into college. And like I knew I wanted to try these different things when I was in college, and was looking for sports teams to join. And to be honest, like the like girls that I was friends with weren't necessarily that interested in sport. Like and I was just like dying to have one friend that would like, you know, go and try like some random club with me. And it's like such a great way, I think, to get to know people in college. That was just like in first year. And then I just, a friend of mine that I used to swim with, she just like reached out to me, and she was like, look, she was in UCD as well in a different course. And she was like, I'm going to go back swimming like in UCD. Do you want to come? And the two of us just decided that we'd go down to the swim team together. And like, I didn't get back into it to be competitive. But we just like went down, we like found a group of people that we related to that had like the same kind of childhoods as we did. And like everybody could swim, you know, properly, and we used to do intervarsities and stuff. And there's just like a kind of a community in that when you're like at college. And like, I just find like sometimes like people in sport, like we just like understand each other a bit more, or like in a different way. Like, and then I never really noticed like a difference in like the genders in swimming as a sport, or not in Ireland anyways. I think that it's like quite balanced, and like the benefit of swimming as a sport is like all the competition is run together. So your events is like a male event, a female event, male event, it's all alternate. But yeah, I tried rowing when I was doing my masters, and I noticed there more like the dropout rate of women, and like how kind of guys wanted to hang around rowing a bit more, and girls kind of didn't as much. Myself and my brother actually started rowing at the same time in UCD, and the year that we went into our second year rowing, like I noticed that we were really struggling to kind of keep a team together, and the men just had so many people there to row, and like it was just totally different. And my brother didn't want to row, and I did. I was just jealous of the volume of people that they had, and he didn't even want to row. And I was just like, oh, I just wish there was more girls that did.
In your opinion, why do you think that is the case, that women's sport is so much kind of lower on the scale of things compared to men's sport, and the fact there's such a high dropout rate of women even at kind of college level when you're doing it for fun? Why do you think, just from observing, that women just don't seem to be as valued in sport as men?
I think the value is like you have to have people interested in it and viewers. Like from a completely like business perspective, if people aren't watching the sport, if people aren't tuning into a women's soccer match, we'll say, it costs the television channels to put it on television. Like if they're not getting views out of it, why would they put it up there? But also like, and I think what has happened in Ireland anyway in the last few years is like they're making much more effort in showing the games and you know, promoting women in sport to make that change, because for people to get interested in it, they have to see it. Like you get so many people where they'll say like, oh God, no, I wouldn't watch women's rugby match, or it's like, and they like dismiss the fact that, you know, some of the sports or I think it's particularly like when you like matches and stuff, that it can't be good. Mm-hmm. But if you actually get to sit down and watch it, they're like, geez, that was a good game. And you're like, yeah, there's still as much interest going on in it, and like the quality is there. And are women going to be as fast as men or as strong as men? Like, you know, physically we are what we are, and that's just it. But like, it doesn't mean that games can't be as exciting or more exciting. Some businesses have to take a hit in order for it to get up there and people to actually get interested in it. But from why do girls not participate in sport, I think there's so many different reasons. Like, I think girls' interests just change, or they become kind of a bit more conscious of being sweaty or not wanting to be red-faced. And like, girls start wearing makeup at, you know, kind of youngish ages, and they decide that they want to like look like this. And like, look, obviously not every girl does, but you know, there's a couple different things that girls worry about that I don't think guys care about as much.
And then, so going back to that, you obviously founded Her Sport. So going back to behind the scenes and the logistics of of how that came about. When you left your master's in Smurfit, did you kind of leave with this vision of setting up this site to highlight women in sport, or was it something that you just kind of came across one day, or how did the whole thing come to life?
Yeah, I guess I was tipping away doing different things, and I kind of noticed it, and like like just being in sport, like there'd be different conversations I had about like why are there not as many women in sport? Are people dropping out and that type of thing? And I was like, I was actually kind of looking into doing a bit of research on it, and I was talking to someone about doing a PhD in different aspects of women in sport. And I was actually just like, I was like, why am I kind of going to do the research on it when we can actually, like, there was what I was kind of being told was that like what I would be researching and stuff, I mightn't actually be able to make a change until like 2 years into the research. And it just kind of, the change wasn't really happening soon enough for me. And I was actually just like, well, I might just start writing about it. And we just started writing about it, and putting it on the website, and I'm covering different things. And like, I'm in rowing, and then there's like, I like have a background in swimming, and I'd be pretty up to date in athletics. So I just kind of like covered what I knew, and we kept up to date with the, any news that was kind of happening, and just like started sharing the articles, and started interviewing people. And yeah, people were interested in like hearing athlete stories, and like that's definitely the things that people are most interested in is hearing like other people's stories. And like, we want to promote and support the athletes that are there like on the international stage, that are doing as well as their male counterparts, and sometimes don't get the same recognition that they do. And yeah, we just started writing about it, and people started reading it, so we just kept going.
So I always find it interesting when companies or businesses come out of someone's passion that's also fighting a really important cause. Could you speak a little bit about how you managed to make that into a job for yourself that you could do every day, I guess, in terms of money and business and that side of things?
There's so much to do all the time. It's a little unusual now that obviously there's no sports happening, but like there's so many athletes that are available to be interviewed, and so many different people that we can talk to. And it's actually been really good that there's a bit more flexibility with schedules and stuff, that we actually have caught up with like a lot of athletes. We just want to like give them the platform to speak, be recognized, like give them the credit that they deserve. And like, like we're talking about branding and sponsorship, and if people aren't talking about them, it can be very difficult for them to get sponsorship. If they don't have a following, it can be very difficult to get sponsorship, and if people are talking about the some of the male athletes, like they're going to get the sponsorship deals because people know who they are. So you have to write about people for people to be recognized, and like the stories have to be there. Like there's so many interesting stories, and so many people that are really, really brilliant female athletes. To live the life of a full-time athlete, like the money needs to be there, and they have to be supported, they have to be sponsored. So I guess we're just trying to give them the voice that they haven't really been given before. We also just want to like get people up, get people moving. It's about kind of showing them that there are other options there, and there are also like lots and lots of other people out there like them. So there's lots of different companies that are on the same kind of wavelength as us, and we just look to kind of partner with those types of companies, and work together to support the different things that we believe in, and the different athletes that we believe in. And we know that some of the content that we create is of interest, and if they support us in getting that content out there, it's going to be beneficial for them and getting their brand out there as well. So basically, two of us have taken a step back from full-time work to pursue this, and we've been able to just dedicate so much more time to it, and take people on to help us out. And it's kind of about a bit of a movement, we've been lucky that people want to get involved because it's something that they're interested in, or they just want to contribute and inspire the next generation.
I think the platform that you've already created is going to make, and probably is already making, such a headway in that, because I think it's just about openly speaking about things and people will start to listen. But I would also be wondering, because I guess there's kind of an overarching theme in sport in general, that there is just this it's getting better, but there is just an inequality around women versus men in sports. But do you feel that trickles into sports media? Say, like for you as a founder of a media site, when you say, I don't know, if you go to kind of events and things where it might be quite male dominant within people that report on sports, do you find that kind of impacts at all, or is it more equal in that field?
We were at an FAI press conference in the last couple of months, and the majority of the room was male.
Mm-hmm.
The head coach was there. She's female. There was another FAI female team member there, and apart from myself, another girl on our team, I think there was one other female in the room, and there might have been 20 or 25 people there. Look, that's soccer. I think in different sports, you're going to see different levels of interaction. As I said, like I think swimming is quite a gender balanced sport in Ireland. I think athletics, we've had a lot of successful male and female athletes, and there's different people participating in different aspects of athletics, and staying in their sport in different ways. Like Dervla O'Rourke is she has her own website, and she is staying in the sport in a way that her website complements sport and exercise and health. And you often see Sonia at different things. I think rowing is doing very well in gender balance between the board, and they've had different people on, pundits, when there's been world championships on, and there's been there's been a mix of men and women on those panels. So yeah, I think that varies sport to sport. That's just what we have, like an example of something we've experienced. But look, I was at a women in sport conference, and there was men and women there. I think there's something that people are actually struggling with, is to get women to watch more women participating in sport, like to actually watch women's games, or watch tune into, like, just to support women in sport. What I found from my peers is when a lot of girls leave sport, I think they actually kind of tune out, where like men leave sport and they still watch games, or they still watch sports. Like if you had a guy finish up with athletics, he'll probably still sit there and watch the European Championships and watch the World Championships. But sometimes I find that girls don't really tune into it as much. There's not as much kind of fandom in it, maybe, as in men's. We were at the Women's Six Nations, and there were the younger girls that were playing at halftime. They were sitting in front of us, and you could hear them kind of chatting, and they're like, I love football, I love soccer, and it's only the men's matches that are on television. Like, why aren't Liverpool or Manchester United's women's teams on television? Like, it's always the men's. And it's great to hear them notice it and be excited about, like, wanting to watch it and that kind of thing. And like, I really hope that someone, like, they were like 8 and 9 years old, I really hope that they in 10 years time still care, and look, there's been such a difference in the last 60 years, to see women that are getting money for participating in sport, and to see Irish women having such success on an international level. Like, that's brilliant. It's just about getting more people to back them.
I also think it'd be interesting to talk to you about this topic. So obviously you've experienced a lot of success in your life, whether it's been kind of little successes in your sports or success with launching your business. So I'd be really interested to know, for you personally, what does that word mean?
I'd say success is being happy in what you've done yourself. If it's winning a particular match, whether it be big or small, like, if that's success to you, brilliant. If success to somebody is competing for Ireland, that's for them. I think it depends on what you want in life. There's just, it's just about, I guess, what like makes somebody happy, and like intrinsically happy. Like, there's no point in saying that, like, making unrealistic goals or comparing yourself overly from one person to another. Like, yes, it's natural for people to compare themselves, but I think you have to evaluate yourself. Like, what are you good at, and what's realistic?
Yeah.
Somebody that's training once a week, half-heartedly, if they consider like success to be competing at the World Championships. It's not going to happen, you know. You have to put in the work to get the results. Like look, if it's winning a medal, great. It doesn't matter what level it's at. So long as you're kind of happy with what you're doing. And look, unfortunately, like people have goals that they aren't going to achieve, and you know you have to be able to get over them and get on with them. You can't let that kind of stuff eat you up. But yeah, like I don't know, have I been successful? I'm not sure. You know, I'm just doing, you know, something that I enjoy and trying to you know, turn it into kind of a vision that I have in my head. Like that's what I would have with the business. In sports, you know, I'm participating in sport. I've kind of no illusions of what's possible. I think that might answer it. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no. I think everyone's take on success is going to be different. If I put your 10-year-old self in front of you today, from everything that you've been through and from the position you sit in now, kind of knowing everything that you've learned through the years, what's your biggest piece of advice you would give your 10-year-old self moving forward in life?
It's interesting for the question, or this type of question, to be asked like to me, because usually it's coming from me. I have never really, you know, looked at it from my own personal perspective. Yeah, I guess I don't think I regret very much of what I've done in life. I probably would encourage like a bit more confidence, or like if there was something that I thought I wanted to try, like encourage like my 10-year-old self or 12-year-old or whatever, like to try it and kind of not be afraid to do things, you know. Like we were talking about earlier, like less people are looking at you than you think are looking at you, and you know, if you don't try something, it's definitely not going to succeed. And you know, look, from a business perspective, do I think we have, like going back to, do I think like we've succeeded? I guess like in my head, I have a place of, you know, what I want to do, and like I get new ideas all the time, and you know, until we have done some of those things, like there's going to be like, there's a success every day. If we get you know, one of our interviews out, like that's a success for that day. But it just, I guess as a business overall, you know, there's a vision of where I want us to go. And you know, I set this up 2 years ago, and it was just to try and make a contribution and just to change the perspective a little bit. And it's great to be able to step back and you know, from full-time work and you know, working for somebody else, you know, to do this full time. I do consider it, like we've, like our following has grown drastically, and you know, even we hit if we hit a goal, I almost don't see that goal sometimes. Like sometimes you kind of have to check yourself a little bit and be like, no, actually you have done, like you have done really well. Like now we're at this, you know, say on Instagram we have to say, you know, now we're at, you know, more than 7,500 followers, and you know, that's something that 6 months ago I would have been like delighted with, you know, and I am delighted, like it's brilliant. But now, and you know, we're striving to hit 10,000 followers, and you know, even though 10,000 followers is so close, and I like will be delighted when we hit 10,000. Like I still want us to go on for more, you know, even though we haven't hit it yet, I know we can get more. So now I'm looking for more, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's so much that we can do. And yeah, I just think for like a child, like if you don't try it, it's definitely not going to happen, you know. If we didn't set this up, you know, I'd be working for somebody else.
It's all about taking that first step. And as you're saying about kind of goals and success as well, I think it's kind of a domino effect that once you start to experience success, what you once thought was success changes all the time. As you kind of realize I can do it, then you want more, and then you want more. So I think as well, it's interesting with entrepreneurs in that kind of cycle. It's a completely other topic, but like whether you can ever actually be satisfied if you are an entrepreneur, because you're always going to be striving for more, you know.
Yeah, no, look, I come up with different ideas all the time, and there's ideas that I talked about a year ago and we haven't done them, you know. It's, but like what I have to try and focus on is you know, getting the important things done. We need to look at like you know, what is important to our business, like what is important that we share with people. And you can spend so much time making something look pretty or perfecting something, but you can get so caught up with, you know, trying to perfect something and get lost in like visuals and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes you actually just have to put it out. And you know, if in my opinion, the article that I've written is 80% ready, most people aren't going to notice that it was 80% ready. They might read it and be like, geez, that was great. That was really interesting. Because you can always tweak something and change something and that kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, like you're saying, like it's just so many different ideas pop into my head, and I just have to kind of like honestly try and put them on like different lists and say, okay, like that has to go into a bank of like ideas. It's not feasible to do right now, and there's so many different things that we could do, but you just have to be realistic and like, what are the resources that we have available to us? What is the team that we have available to us? You know, and what are like the core values, you know?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for giving up your time to speak to me. I think what you're doing is amazing and incredible. I think you deserve a massive well done, and I wish you the best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening, and as always, please rate, share, subscribe, and leave a comment if you like what you hear. And don't forget to follow at What It's Like Pod on Instagram and Facebook. For more information and to follow Her Sport, visit the links provided in the show notes. I'll be back on Thursday with more inspiring stories, but for now, this has been What It's Like with Luce.